Howdy friends, welcome back. If any of y'all have been following my channel for any time, you know I'm all about tackling those hard to do jobs and showing you little ways of doing them, as well as trying to share with you some of the tips, tricks, and hacks when it comes to making life a little easier during your plumbing day and your job. Stick around, I've got a couple more that I want to share with you, and I hope you enjoy. Alright, all you plumbers out there, or guys that like to do plumbing and stuff, will agree with me. When it comes to trying to open up a can of PVC glue or something like that, you really can't get your hands on there most of the time and get that thing open. So you end up taking a pair of channel locks and gripping down on that thing, and it just makes it worse. If you look along the top lid of these cans, it's got a little ridge right there. You take your channel locks, make sure to just grab the top part of that lid just a little bit and crack that baby open. And here's the reason why. If you apply too much pressure in the middle of this lid, it's going to squeeze it, and it's going to squeeze it up against those threads, making it harder and harder for this thing to come on and off, especially if you're working right out of the can. As the glue starts forming around that thing, it's going to make it very difficult. Always take your channel locks and grab onto that little ridge top at the very top and turn it, and watch how much easier you can get that lid off that can of glue. All right, let's just pretend that we just installed a toilet, or we reset a toilet, but it's rocking around. It's got a little bit of movement on there because the floor just isn't quite straight. Now, the first thing as a plumber you'd want to do is make sure that your bolts are nice and tight, you didn't break the flange or anything like that, and you're going to want to try to shim it. All right, a lot of plumbers like to use regular wedges, the plastic wedges that you can buy, as well as maybe some lead or some pennies and stuff. A lot of you guys, like me, I like to use little wooden shims that you buy. Now, I don't want to waste this whole thing, so here's a little tip when it comes to actually getting the most bang for your buck when it comes to shimming a toilet with a wood shim. Now, if indeed you are using a wood shim like I have here, you can see the tapered edge is thin, so that'll be the edge that you want to get up underneath there and stuff, all the way up to the thickest edge. A lot of guys just shove this thing in and then they'll cut it. Well, I don't want to waste it because I can get quite a few shims out of this. Try taking a nice sharp razor knife, nice and carefully. Go to the top, set your razor knife into place, and push downwards. See that? Now I have a full shim in a micro sized. This way I can use multiple different pieces off this, and I still have the rest of my shim for another 1 or 2, maybe 3 other toilets. Just another thing, especially if that's all you have on your van and say you got a couple more toilets you're going to run into. Get the most out of it that you can. All right, let's say that we're up underneath a kitchen sink or a bathroom sink and you're trying to remove it so you can make a replacement. You end up running into these little plastic nuts that's holding the thing into place, and they're stuck in there. You can't turn them, and it's very little room, and you can't get any kind of a basin wrench or anything in there. First thing you can try is maybe a needle nose pair of vice grips or pliers, and get up there and try to turn them like this. All right, if you have the room to do so. And if it won't turn and the dog ears break, what do you do now? Get yourself a good flathead screwdriver. As it sits up underneath, you want to try to hit this area right here with a hammer. Get up underneath there and split that plastic nut. Split it. Make sure there's nothing breakable up on the top end of the sink and stuff that's going to fall down and break, like glass or dishes or anything like that. But if you can't get the thing to move, you can take and you can smack that part of the nut right up there and crack it in half, and that thing will screw all the way off. Okay, so while we're underneath the sink and we've got to put the drain assembly together, as long as it's up to date or you're updating the drain system on there, you're going to be working with poly 1.5 or 1.25 fittings. This is a small piece of an extension tube, or P-traps or end wastes, all that other good stuff. You get your little measurement ready to go, and for years I used to take a hacksaw and cut that thing off. Well, let me tell you something. After years of slipping and cutting my knuckles and stuff, always carry a nice size pair of pipe cutters. Get yourself up underneath, get your measurement, close that thing off until it starts to bite, and then take and twist it. See what I'm doing? I'm twisting it. And look at that perfect cut. No busted knuckles every single time. No burrs. Work smart, not hard. Okay, so I got time for one more, and this is actual response from somebody that watched one of my videos who wanted to see how was the easiest way to put your seats and your springs into a Delta shower valve and such and stuff. And you can see I got the little spring sitting here, and I've got my little neoprene seat. We get them set to where they want to go, but you know, it's so tough to get your hands back up inside of there and get it all seated just right. One end pops out and everything. Try this. Try grabbing yourself a regular Phillips head screwdriver and pushing it through. See that? I got the spring as well as the seat. Now I can take and I can slide it up into that area where it goes. As soon as I've bottomed out where they're going to go, slide them up nice and easy and tap them into place. This way you're not fumbling around for 5 minutes. Time is money, and having to pull the thing out because it doesn't seat right. This is going to guarantee you that that's going to get back up there in that area the best way without fumbling around with your big fingers in there and not being able to have success. Like I said, work smart, not hard. All right, so I got time for one more. Check it out. See me work with a lot of copper, and a lot of you guys work with copper as well. You ever notice when you're working with copper and you got to sand it and clean it and get all that stuff, at the end of the day your hands are all green and they're all dirty and stained and stuff like that? Quick no-brainer, always carry a bag of disposable gloves. Throw them on your hands, and when you're sanding all that stuff, once you get all said and done with the copper, you take them off and your hands are clean. It's a no-brainer. Trust me, you'll thank me. Hey, that's all the time we got for this one. Thanks so much for hanging out and watching the video. Hopefully you learned a couple things along the way. None of this is rocket science. I'm sure you've seen me do a lot of these things along the way in some of my other videos. Work smart, not hard. You hear me say that all the time. And I don't know about you guys, but if you get stuck on trying to do something that's very tedious, and it's little things like those little neoprene seats and them springs trying to get them back there in one of those Delta valves and stuff, and you just can't seem to get them, every little tiny thing that helps your job along the way will end up making it more of a stress-free day job, and you can complete things a lot better instead of getting all stressed out and your mind starts wandering. Now you start messing things up and you start creating leaks. Got any questions or comments, leave them down below, and don't forget to keep plumbing.